YouTube, what's up? Listen, it's been a little while. It's been a few days here since I last uploaded. You know, I was doing some thinking because it's the holiday season. Merry Christmas, by the way. Happy New Year to all of you. Happy holidays. And I've noticed that everyone's in this hustle and bustle state. Just been trying to take care of myself mentally, take care of myself physically, get better, be well, try the best I can to stay healthy and maintain a positive mindset. So what's been on my mind lately is this thought, this idea that's out there that I've honestly been getting better at obtaining this winning mindset. Okay, the very act of being in a season of lack presently, but you're walking. It's not just mental. It's literally your walk, how you see the world. You see the world in a more spiritual sense now. So you're awoken. You understand that. Look, we get it. We get that, the fact that there's a lesson involved with this. We understand that. Let's be honest, that ship has sailed for those of us who are on this channel, for those of us who are, called to bigger things, or spiritually awakened, moving in God's sense as gods. So we walk in that energy, right? We understand that there's lessons, that there is something to be built within those tough times. I wanted to bring up real quick, for example, Andrew Tate just fought this guy who was younger than him, being in his 40s now. He just fought this guy who's many years younger than him, in better shape. He's not going to be as tired in the ring because he's a young fighter. Tate chose to fight the top champ, the number one. He did not choose to fight somebody who was, just regular Joe Schmo off the street. Somebody who was not as successful in the fighting game. So he really knew that there was a lesson involved with that. He said it was something that he, quote unquote, his words, not mine, he had to do. And people look at that and they think that he wants to, have this mindset where he's going in there thinking that he's better than his opponent. No, he respects his opponent, and he's acknowledged the fact that his opponent is twice as strong as he is, and probably going to be twice as nimble because he's younger. So, but the point is here, within that, there's a lesson. And, he said, well, most people in their 40s are doing X, Y, and Z. I don't know anything about that. But what I can tell you is that he's doing something with himself by creating this lesson within. Even if the odds are not in your favor, I think it's important to kind of teach yourself those lessons. I get that. But he's still operating, and we are operating as spiritual beings in this phase, at this point in time. I'm just using him as an example, because that was something that happened recently. We are operating in this point in time like we have already won. That mindset, walking in that. And what does that look like for you? For me, it's been a mix of walking in that, feeling that lack there, but walking as if I've already won, understanding the lack is there, understanding the decisions that I've made that were negative decisions are affecting me negatively now. I'm learning from them in the present moment, and nobody else is going to be able to learn from that You know, it's going to be me and my specific situation. So yeah, it's understood. It's duly noted from my point of view in my life. But to be able to walk in that God energy, that, you know, my I am energy, my, you know, I've already won this energy, I feel like the wins don't feel as big. I feel like the smaller the win is, the bigger it is of a deal to me, you know, and it's the wins that people don't see. So I'm trying to gauge, okay, how big can I win? How much bigger can I win walking in that energy? And I always have that what if, that negative connotation associated with a move that I make or a decision that I make. And I'm like, well, what if this doesn't happen? I understand this could happen, but at least I'm walking into this situation knowing that there's risk, you know, but there could be a high return, a high reward on your moves that you make. That's the reason that we do that, is because there's such a high return on that risk if we do win and we do pull through. But if you're always in that mindset of winning, like I'm a winner mindset, you never really lose. Something that I've heard this past week is there's no such thing as a loss when you're in that energy, in that state of mind. And that's why it's so powerful. It's like, okay, I'm going to continue to make moves, learn. You know, when you get back up and you try again, there is no loss. You don't lose. You only lose when you quit. And that's something, I mean quit completely. Like when you quit and you stop living and you stop trying, period, that's when you lose. And I never associated losing with that. I immediately always associated it with, okay, you know, what's happening in the here and now, and how is that affecting me? Don't let things affect you. Don't let how you feel about a situation in front of you affect you, because you cannot change the immediate. You can only act upon the future. You know, you can really only act upon today and the here and now. You can learn from it. You can adapt in the future and make better decisions. So, live in your I am today. That's the point of this video. Initiate your next move as if you've been a winner this whole time. Literally, as if it's in your genetics. I need you to operate that way, because you're going to be a huge support system for yourself. Nobody's going to support you that much. You have to be that level of support for yourself. That's high support level. You have to get to the point with yourself that, you know, don't get me wrong, outside validation and people who appreciate you, that's a huge deal. I love that. You know, they're people who cheer you on. They're appreciated. I love that. It feels good I love that feeling. It feels good to be wanted and appreciated. But when you're that for yourself all the time, you get that motivation you need internally. And you gotta walk like you're a boss. My ladies out there, you gotta walk like you're queens. Like you've already got that tiara, that crown, that ring on the finger, whatever that symbolizes for you. It's already happened, right? I won't tell you who it is, but I listen to conversations sometimes, you know, what people talk about, and it interests me a lot. One of the heavy hitters, you know, guy was making good money, really good money actually, and it just woke me up to the fact that, like, you know, he has a large family, a lot of kids, and he was talking to somebody in public, and I overheard he's talking about how he wanted to remove this tree in his front yard, and a giant oak tree, right? That's a big deal. Like, you have to have some serious equipment. You have to have somebody, type of tree that you have to have somebody, a company, come out and literally remove, unless you have unlimited resources, wildlife, you know, agricultural, whatever the resources are called, you know, saws, machinery to be able to knock down like forestry and whatever I'm trying to say. So he realized, he's like, look, this isn't going to happen unless I pay somebody to do it. But he was like honest with himself, even though he made good money. He was like, look, this is an $8,000 job, and I don't exactly have that laying around right now, that money, and I could think of better things to spend the money on. And it got me thinking. I'm like, wow, you know, that was such an it was kind of a flex in the sense that, you know, if he could do it, it's like, wow, I just blew $8,000. Like, yeah, I got all this money, but like, it was necessary to like keep his family safe. But he made a good decision, because he said, well, you know, what if I just, you know, have the homeowner's insurance pay for it if the tree falls on my house or whatever. You know, that's smart thinking, because those things happen, and those things are in place for a reason. And it goes into like the engineering of how our brain works, right? We think of smarter moves we can make. So, but if he put that $8,000 into investing in himself, and he continued to walk in that mindset of like, okay, there's lack there, I don't have the $8,000, but that money could really be used for potential, you know, future potential. That's called reinvesting in yourself. By making smarter decisions. Look, I didn't know who the guy was. I didn't know if I liked the guy. I might not have liked him at all. But that was a logical decision, you know. And he was just playing the steps out. He's like, look, you know, family comes first, and this and that. But yeah, you know, just like Tate, he made the decision to walk in the ring with this guy when he didn't have to. And I think that was the point, is that he didn't have to do that, but he chose to do that. There were a lot of things that Jesus did on this earth that he didn't have to do, but he did it. And that's the whole point of his story, is sacrifice on our behalf. So there's a lot of examples of that in the history books. Abraham Lincoln didn't have to make the sacrifices he made. Martin Luther King didn't have to make the sacrifices he made to give us, our African Americans, the freedoms that they have. You know, that's such a good feeling, that somebody of such good heart can walk in truth, and as a symbol push forward something that should be remembered. So it just goes to show how important your journey is. Believing in yourself is. What you can obtain, what you can do with that. That is a huge concept. Self-support. Self-sabotage is so easy for us to do. When you get into the realm of self-sabotage, though, hope is just completely thrown out the window. Any type of possibility of improvement or making it a good day because you say it's a good day, it's completely thrown out the window. And that's a hard place to be. Okay? I'll give you an example today, because this was something that I was doing for just today. But, you know, I bought one of these $10 scratchers, And I had somebody literally speak into my life and tell me, okay, it was a sign. It was like, look, this one's good. And it wasn't one of the ones that one of the games I really wanted to play. I wanted to do a different game because I was looking at a different strategy. There were other tickets that I had more luck with in other states that I had planned to play. And I still plan to play those tickets. But I ended up going with his word, for one of the lower cost tickets. There were a couple of $50 ones he recommended, and I was like, look, dude, I'm not trying to blow 50 on one ticket today, maybe sometime in the future. Again, I made a logical decision to say, maybe there's better stuff I could be spending that money on. But I had a little bit of money to spend. So I was like, which of the $10 tier is the best for me right now? But I ended up buying the one he recommended at the $10 price point, and I didn't win off of it. And the odds, were they in my favor? A little bit. It was a good odd ticket, 1 in 3.83 of winning, but there were no second chances to win or any of that. So, listen, Tate did not have a good chance of winning. As experienced as he was, he knew he did not have a good chance of winning that fight. And I knew that with him going into it, but I'm glad he did. I'm glad I bought this $5 scratcher that I did, because, it teaches me resilience. It teaches me to be as confident as I can be. Within myself. Sorry guys, there's an accident up here. The police are waving us by. I know I'm gonna get some hate in the comments for doing a video while I'm driving, but I'm almost home, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, you have to switch your moves up that you're making. What's gonna be the best for you? If you take an L one day, what if you take a huge W, 3 days from that, and you end up winning a bunch of money or something? You never know what's going to happen. You just don't, So that's why I say stay consistent, continue to grow, and walk within that I've already won energy. I'm winning right now energy. Because when you get to the point where you're untouchable, nothing can affect you, nothing anybody says can ever change your mind or have an impact on you. Look, there are people who are pushy and want to walk into situations that I created and move the chairs around the room. You just have to stay silent and let them. That doesn't mean let people walk all over you. That just means, okay, I'm understanding. I acknowledge the fact that this is happening right now, but I'm choosing to stay silent and tell myself quietly in my own head while this is happening. I'm choosing to stay silent to protect my peace. I honor myself. I am walking in utmost authority. I am divinely protected spiritually. And I am on the path that I'm on for a reason. Those are the things you have to start telling yourself over and over. You're divinely protected. What a great thought that is. You are spiritually sought after by the highest power. You're invincible, basically. Even death cannot destroy your story. Your story is still paving a way, making an impact, and that's important. So take some time to build up your confidence, talk to people, reach out. I'm beginning to have incredible conversations with people who I never thought I would meet, who just, the simplest of things, but they just reach out and say, hey, this is the lotto ticket I would have bought. This is where I'm having luck in life. This is some advice I can pass on to you. These are some things that I'm into, some hobbies that I'm into. Maybe you should try them. Or, they just want to talk about life and its lessons and what they've learned. And the whole idea of getting frustrated as much as we do just somehow magically goes out the window when we operate in our confidence, and we prioritize self. Listen, guys, I love you. Wish you a great holiday if I don't talk to you soon. But we're back, and we're going to be operating in 2026 in a different manner. 2025 was a season of lack, and as my friend Susie says, shout out to Susie and her podcast, her channel. Go check it out. Sovereign Susie on Instagram and Facebook. Most of her stuff is targeted towards women, but it's also targeted towards men, and it had a great effect on me as far as mental health, protecting your peace goes. She helped me learn a lot and has been teaching me a lot. Yeah, shout out to her and her channel. But continue to walk in your I am and prioritize yourself. Stay on top of your game. Stay on top of what's important in this life to you. Okay? Continue to, pat yourself on the back. Susie says, I just remembered what some of her content and something that she was saying. She said 2025 was the year of getting back, depleting the anxiety, depleting the stress, worrying less about, people saying things and behaving out of your control, and letting that affect you, and getting your energy back. And then 2026, she says, and I love this comment here, 2026 is the year of the horse. It's the year we get on the horse and we ride into the sunset, into the sunrise, out into the fields of freedom. That is such a powerful analogy. And this is why I say walk as if you've already won, because you have. When you do that, you get on the horse, you take the reins, and you just go attack life head on. But you don't operate within the walls that this world wants you to. You have built a spiritual world for yourself, and you're going off into that with your sword drawn. Okay? Here's to the fight. Here's to the battle. Love you guys so much, and I'll see you on the next video. Happy holidays.